Producers of Wall-E, what exactly the producer does or do in this type of movie
well,
in
the
animation?
producers, it's actually not all that different from the producers in live action. I mean, we're responsible for many of the same things, which are, getting the schedule and the budget together, putting the crew together, making sure it's a crew that's going to work well together, that's going to work well with the director. We actually work with all of the consumer products, the marketing. We help cast the film. We help the composer deal get together and post-production. I mean, so we're really there with Andrew, we basically came on the show pretty much right around the same time as he did and have followed it through every step of the way.
What specifically do a visual effect producer in an animation movie
well,
like this one?
We don't actually have a visual effects producer on an animated movie. The differences are, here you're working on the whole movie that encompasses visual effects and the animation and every little piece of it. And in the visual effects business, you're generally making a piece of a movie to go into a live-action movie, a director's movie. So this is a much more expansive sort of role. And much of the pipeline and technology is quite similar, especially since computer graphics is so prevalent now in live-action effects filmmaking. But this is just, from the key creative concept on to the very end, and it's a different role in that regard.
Were you frightened when Andrew said half of the movie is silent?
No, because he never said that, actually. No, we didn't know. We had no idea. No, I'm just kidding. No, you know what? Andrew is very smart in how he attacks this, because this is a film that's been, sitting in the creative mind vaults of Pixar for a long time, and it's something that people have tried to make, or he's wanted to make for a long time, and has been trying to figure out how to do it and stay true to the original concept of this little character. And so, the first thing he did actually was he storyboarded out the entire first act. And it's almost exactly what you ended up seeing on the screen. And that was 4 years ago. He actually just sat at home and storyboarded it out so that he could show everybody what he wanted to do. And I don't think there was one person that saw that didn't completely understand and get completely behind the film and never questioned whether or not we would be able to succeed in bringing this character to life.
Since 1995, Pixar has been the king of animation, and trying to compete with all the studios, it has succeeded always. What do you think about? Do you feel pressure?
Well, we feel the pressure of those things to an extent, and also the pressure of the fact that all of the Pixar films have been successful and well received, and we didn't want to be the ones to break that chain. But on the other hand, the philosophy here has always been to try to make a really great movie that the people working on it all believe in and like, and the feeling being if we like it, and we're just regular audience people, that the audience out there will like it. So we try to put a lot of that out of our minds and just try to be focused on making a really good, entertaining movie that we can take our families to and people will just like. So those pressures are always there in the back of your head, but you got to put them out of the way and not be influenced by them too much.
In terms of, for example, Pixar doing animation against the other studios, for example, DreamWorks or Sony or Blue Sky, what do you think you stand up here in Pixar? Because you're the king of animation, you know that, but you don't say it, right?
We didn't say it.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting. It's actually a pretty small community, and interestingly, most of the artists here, they all went to school together. I mean, literally. All of the great directors and animators at Blue Sky and a lot of them at Sony and DreamWorks, they all went to school with the guys here. And so it's not as competitive as you might think. Actually, everybody's kind of rooting for each other in a way, because it's actually anything that's good for this art form, for this medium that we're all in, is actually great for all of us. So it's actually exciting that there's all these great films that are coming out, that all these studios are actually putting out really quality films. And I think these guys would be the first to say that creative competition is never bad. Great creative competition is something that actually makes them try to up their game, and they actually like it.
You think that Wall-E is a most mature movie? It's a very mature movie in terms of animation. Do you think the animation, not particularly Pixar, is going to an adult audience?
No, I don't. I think, for instance, the next film that Pixar has coming out is going to feel so different from Wall-E. It'll look so different, the story is so different, and it'll feel really different. And it's because basically the directors are different. And this is a director-driven studio, so You know, I think Andrew Stanton's films tend to, I think if you were to look at them, you know, side by side, you might see some commonalities there. I think Pete Docter, who's directing the next film, if you put that up against Monsters Incorporated, which he directed, you'd feel like that was kind of a similar kind of feeling of the film. Again, very different in story. But, so I think we just happen to be a studio with these directors that tend to tell stories that feel like them, and not like necessarily Pixar. So I think, you know, they all have films they want to make and stories they want to tell, and those stories and films evolve one to the next. So it's less about kind of who our audience is and more about what the stories are that they have to tell.
Do you think that animation is going to an adult audience?
Well, you know, there's a lot of unexplored territory there in terms of adult audiences with animation. We have a huge adult audience with Pixar films in general, but we always make the films, we try to make the films for the whole audience so that children can go and adults like them and enjoy them. And I think a film like WALL-E has a lot of different layers. Children can enjoy it because they like the robots or the action-adventure or even the love story, and adults like the love story and some of the other ideas in the movie. So I think that trend will continue, and one film will maybe feel a little more adult-like, and the next one may feel a little more childlike. It'll be a range, I think.